I call it the Calm Compliance System. So it's an entire system that covers all of those bases. So we write up all the written policies and procedures that are required by OSHA. So depending on where you're located, everybody has to have a exposure control plan, and they all have to have a hazards communication program and all of those types of programs that are specific to your work site. So we write that up for the office. And when we give it to them, it's completed. You don't have to do anything with it. It's written up in the office name, the practice name, the doctor, all that stuff. Based on the training that we provide, they can add in other continuing education because we're nationally approved with AGD. And then we also are approved with the Dental Board of California for CE. So we offer all of the required courses for license renewal in California.
Welcome to the Just Do It podcast, hosted by Ann Duffy. Dental Entrepreneur Women is here to dive deep and share stories with the mission to inspire, highlight, empower, and connect all women in dentistry.
Hello, everyone. It's Ann Duffy, and welcome to the Just Do It podcast. I'm so happy to have this guest today. I've known her for a couple of years now, and she's just a light. Oh my gosh, she's a dear friend. She's a connector, and she is a do extraordinaire. But before we get started, let me tell you a little bit about Joyce. Joyce Weeks, Master's in Science, is the owner and lead educator of Dental Ed, Inc., where she helps dental teams simplify compliance through engaging practical education in OSHA, infection control, and California dental regulations. Fun fact, she earned her master's degree in Ireland and learned to ride a Harley Sportster motorcycle at just 15 years old, which is a surprise to me. You are something, Joyce. Welcome, Joyce Weeks, to the Just Do It podcast.
Thank you so much, Ann. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh my gosh. How long have we known each other? I mean, I remember when I first met you, and I remember that you wrote for us in Dental Entrepreneur Woman, and your article got just so much attention and so many eyeballs. And how many years has it been?
3. I became owner of Dental Ed in 2023. And that was when I wanted to just start looking at how to expand my company. And it was recommended that I join Do, and best decision I ever made. And that's when I met you.
Oh my God.
On one of the coffee chats. I'm sure it was like, because I do the Tuesday ones because I'm on the West Coast.
Yeah. I love that you show up. And I heard last Tuesday's Do Connect was amazing. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal.
Isn't that something?
They just come out of nowhere sometimes. Like, it's really great because sometimes it's just, like we're catching up, we're hearing like how things are going. Sometimes they're very business minded and things like that. But then every once in a while, it's just, they just get you really deep in the field. And you're like, whoa.
Wow.
That's like an session.
Yeah. Where did that come from? But wow, isn't that so fun? It's, they're not really scripted, which is really lovely. Yeah. And I love how we're changing up the leaders because that gives it such a variety and it's such a recipe, if you will, for success for us. And
Absolutely.
Gives it opportunity to host it as a leader. It just kind of gets your leadership skills revved up a little bit. So we're so lucky. But I feel like I've known you way longer than 3 years.
I know.
What?
Yeah,
Wow.
I know. It's because of the kind of going back to those conversations that have happened at the Do Chats. When you get to that level of conversations with people, because we've had such deep conversations together, it cuts through some of that like surface level stuff and you develop those really deep connections. And so then you just feel like you've known each other your whole lives.
I know it. And that's why you can pick up the phone and call a Do. And I love how you said you were like so referring so many people to JJ because of your strengths, which is number one, developer, which I love. I love reading the balcony of developer. Developer grows talent in others, teacher, coach, enjoys helping others succeed, invest in others. That's the balcony. I mean, you are in the balcony because you're always with your work and taking over the business. I'm just so proud of you for that. And empathy, you've got to feel with your business, with the compliance, because I'm sure you get many calls that are like, people are just beside themselves, right? I mean, you've got
Absolutely.
You're a fixer in those things and learner. If compliance is not changing all the time, I could never, you have to want to be a learner. It would kill me if I had to keep every day, learn a new rule or a new state law. And especially when you say California, an achiever, you get your articles on time, you check all the boxes, you're so fun like that. And then consistency with compliance, because that is your main thing. I mean, that is your strength. And then you learn about that and you put in the experience. I mean, it really is a superpower for you, Joyce, in your business. So no surprise that you followed in your mom's footsteps And we'll talk a little bit about that later. But I want to start with you because you gave me a question. I love it. So you have taken the topic that most people dread. And I know that because I just came back from Dykema. And I will tell you, Joyce, the hot topic was compliance because of AI. Yeah. Oh, yeah. AI, compliance. So compliance, you've taken the topic most people dread, compliance, and helped transform it into something approachable and empowering. How have you changed the way dental teams think about compliance?
So my biggest focus when it comes to compliance is taking the fear out of it. I have found that most trainings around compliance focus on if you don't do this, you're going to end up being fined X amount of money. You're going to get in trouble. Even advertisements for competitors that I see here locally, they'll send like letters and things like that to my clients. And I don't even know the names of the companies and I wouldn't tell them if I did, but it's like, you're out of compliance with OSHA and you have to do training in this amount of time or you're going to get fined and blah, blah, blah. OSHA doesn't do that. They're not sending those letters and that's not how it works. But it's just like there's massive scare tactics. And I just find that unethical. So what we do instead is focus on, okay, these are what the requirements are, but this is why. This is the reason why we need to wear gloves. With my background in infectious disease, I have a master's in immunology and global health. So my background is talking about infectious disease. And I know you heard me talk about it. I go full geek. I love it. I think it's so interesting. And as we know, like when I'm excited, the person who's speaking is excited. It helps to kind of get other people on board. But the main focus for me is I like to find a way to communicate that information in a way that's tangible, it's understandable. We break it down so that it's not like a typical person who's got way too many letters after their name that is still using all the scientific jargon and it's not approachable.
Yeah.
I'll use terms. I'll talk about bugs. I'll say the terms that we use colloquially with everybody because I don't care. It's not about, trying to sound a certain way. It's about making sure that we all are on the same page and understand. And then from that point, once you have an understanding of what the purpose is and why these regulations exist, then it helps to create ownership for the team. It's like I'm wearing a mask or I'm wearing gloves so that I'm protected, so my patients are protected from these specific diseases. This is how they're transmitted. It just helps us to have a better understanding of the world we live in. There's no gatekeeping.
That's really great. In fact, bring it down to the 5th grade level, if you will. But also with your background in science and immunology, I mean, my gosh, you know so much more. And like dental people are geeky too. They love hearing about that. And like, I'm sure that you're giving them information that they've never heard, never thought about, and made it like, well, this is like a no-brainer. Let's get with the program. And it makes it so easy. And it also keeps you remembering things when you have the why behind it.
Well, and that's a great point. So I like to make it very simple because in the classes oftentimes that I'm teaching, we have people from various degree levels, so we'll have front office who don't do anything in the back and might not have a science background. And then I have a doctor or hygienist or other team members who have a 4-year degree oftentimes and also have an advanced degree depending on where they're coming from. So I break it down, but then I can also add in like talking about HIV, I'll just say, CD4 cells or helper T, so we'll use the different terminology depending on the team and who it is. And if they have specific questions, of course, we talk about that too.
Yeah.
So we can go to the higher level stuff if people care, but the empathy comes in and I'm like, are they awake? Like, how's it going? Should I go into more detail or do I need to stop talking?
That is, you have a good sense of humor as well, because every time I'm on the phone with you or a Zoom or whatever, we're laughing. And so to make it not only understandable and fun is a gift. And I think you're going to be really busy going forward though, Joyce, because that is the big talk, not just with the bug thing, but, the compliance on everything else that's coming out. Because, the government is looking at dentistry now. They used to kind of be asleep when it came to the compliance and the laws and rules of regulation across the board. But now they're looking at it, especially with the corporate dental structure that's coming in. And I guess that's good for everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But what do you think are the biggest compliance mistakes that you're seeing? Like, do you ever get surprised, or is there a common thread or one simple change every office could implement if you're listening this week?
Yes, we get surprised. There's stuff out there that happens and we're like, whoa, what? Okay, now we need to update what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because that's not good. The thing that is probably one of the most common errors that I see is treating compliance like a one and done, that you do the annual training and then it's taken care of. It's a checked box. That's fairly common. And also doing training at like a dental society or a big meeting and it's not specific to your work site. OSHA requires that that training is reflected for the specific needs of your office. So if you go to an outside source for training that's not done in-house, so let's say that you go to a dental society and complete an OSHA course, then you need to take the information that's learned at that training and go through that information with your team. That's not the OSHA training for your team. That's just like a review of make sure you cover X, Y, and Z back at your office. And you talk about the specific programs you have in place there. So that's one component. The other aspect is doing ongoing training. That's actually also required. So depending on the size of your team, it might be monthly, it might be quarterly, but they need to be reviewing safety-related information with their teams on an ongoing basis. And neither of those things are fun to think about or exciting and interesting. And also, there's so many other aspects that are needed to be taken care of in the office. So it's really far down on the list. And it's one of those things that gets put on the back burner and people forget about.
Yeah. I've been in offices where you have a compliance officer, so to speak, in the office, but they don't have the time to learn what you're learning on a regular basis. I mean, because it's constantly changing and the world is constantly changing. So I guess they would hire you to like come in or check in. How does it work with your business?
Oh, sure. I'm happy to talk about that. So what we provide for offices, we do the annual training, but we've also developed, I call it the Calm Compliance System. So it's an entire system that covers all of those bases. So we write up all the written policies and procedures that are required by OSHA. So depending on where you're located, everybody has to have a exposure control plan and they all have to have a hazards communication program and all of those types of programs that are specific to your work site. So we write that up for the office. And when we give it to them, it's completed. You don't have to do anything with it. It's written up in the office name, the practice name, the doctor, all that stuff based on the training that we provide. And then we have within our system on our website, you receive monthly emails from us that includes the monthly trainings. So that training, the ongoing support I was talking about. So once a month, it'll be like, this month, they're going to cover workplace violence prevention, or this month, they're going to talk about bloodborne pathogens. So it's already created and they get that reminder. And then we have 3 different tiers. So depending on what tier they choose for the level of support that they need, they can kind of add in other continuing education because we're nationally approved with AGD. And then we also are approved with the Dental Board of California for CE. So we offer all of the required courses for license renewal in California.
Wow, it takes so much off their plate because some of the things you were talking about, just like violence coming into the workplace, there are so many things that you just mentioned that actually, that's not going to happen to me. And so then when it does happen, if you're not prepared, who's responsible for that? That would be the leader of the team, or the
employer.
dentist. Yeah, the employer is responsible for that. And I mean, my gosh, especially with the churn that we have right now with teams coming in and out, you got to make sure everybody's up to speed on where everything is, where the defibrillator, all of the things.
Absolutely.
That might occur, because it's not if, it's like when. For most of these things, when you talk to different offices about all the problems that we've had, you can have smooth sailing, but just takes one big event to take the ship down. So good to have you in their back pocket. I would say that's a lot of peace of mind for the leader and for the team.
Yeah. And a big part of it too that you mentioned, the reason I created this program, a big part of it was staff turnover. So many offices are experiencing that right now. And some of it is expected. We have employees who move or have, medical situations, pregnancy, maternity leave, all of those kinds of things. So it's very normal in any employment situation, but we're seeing a big increase in dental specifically. And so we do have an entire program for how do you train new employees and documenting that training as well. And also for temporary employees. So if you have an employee who goes on maternity leave and you have a long-term temp, then there's the training that's needed for them. It's all done on our website. So they have a video that those people can watch, and it goes through some basic information. And then we cover evacuation training. My best friend is she's an industrial engineer, and she can create the evacuation map for offices. So
that's
mock
amazing.
It up for people. I know, isn't that She was sitting next to me at my house, and she started drawing up, she was moving, and she started drawing up the floor plan for her house. And I was like, what are you doing? And she's like, oh, I'm just planning where I'm going to put everything. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, can you do that on like digitally? And she's like, easily. I'm like, oh, you have no idea how much I need that.
Oh my God. Well, the answer's in the ladies' room, apparently. Again,
Totally
we
is.
hear that all the time. That's so fun. And now you get to work with her. And, with the way the, digital is right now, you can do all of that. And that's such a gift for an office. Thinking back on the offices I worked in, I wouldn't have any idea which would be the best way to get out of the office. I don't believe anybody ever told me if there was a fire, where to go. Or if they did, I don't remember. So, those are things that, especially when you're in panic mode.
Oh,
like, where do I go? How do I get out? I should pay more attention. And it's just like, how many times have we heard it on the airplane? We kind of know, but would we be able to do that if the plane was going down? Oh my gosh. But it's so cool. I mean, like, I love that you followed in the footsteps of your mom. And so growing up with your mom being in this business, you watched, and then you decided to go to Ireland, and you went to school there, and then you get your master's again. And when did you decide to come back and you realized that it was such a great fit to take over your mom's very successful business?
I fell into it. It wasn't like I'm going to do this now. So I moved back to San Diego to do my thesis research. I was doing HIV vaccine research at the Scripps Research Institute. And once I finished that, my thesis, I really wanted to teach about bloodborne pathogens. And my mom was like, why don't you come with me? You can get some teaching experience, because I needed that to be able to apply for a fellowship at the CDC at the time. And this is back in 2014. So I started following her. My dad was actually a dentist. So that's how my mom started the company back in 1988. She was working as a nurse, and all the regulations were changing. OSHA was getting ready to form. That was when HIV was being identified. It was certainly an issue, but nobody really knew exactly what was going on quite yet. And also hepatitis B had been an issue for a while. So there was concerns with bloodborne pathogens and all that stuff. So fast forward to 2014, I started following my mom, going to different dental offices. And honestly, like, it was just so comfortable, because I'd grown up after school going to my dad's office and hanging out with his staff. His office manager took me under her wing, both of them. They actually had two different office managers over the years. And they were both just like second moms to me. And I just always felt so comfortable in a dental office. So it just was such an easy fit. And I loved what I was teaching about. It was really fun to see people have this new understanding of infectious disease, and that I was a little quirky and funny. And, it just fit. It just fit.
No pressure. I think it's like no pressure. You could really feel that. And then that whole idea of compliance exploded. I mean, your mom had it going, and she was one of few. But then, I mean, now it is just like right up in front of everybody. Since the pandemic, I mean, my gosh, so many things that come to mind. The pandemic was one. And then I was actually stuck with a Cavitron that was from an HIV patient, which was such a bizarre thing that happened. And so I think also so many people we know, if we talk amongst ourselves and, at the Do Connects, you're going to find so many experiences or things that have happened in the office that are like, go in line with your training and could be of service to the provider and to the patient, especially, right?
Absolutely.
So what we don't know, that is for sure. So you've learned some lessons. Okay. So your mom, she must be so proud of you. Is she totally retired?
She stopped teaching in 2021, and then she fully retired in 2023.
Okay. And so then when did you start to realize you were going to be taking over her business?
So my youngest was born in 2019. And I think at that point, I was like, even before that, we've been talking for years. And at that stage, I was like, this is what I'm going to do long term. During COVID was really, my degree just became even more important, and it was incredibly helpful with being able to communicate, like, how do we protect ourselves in a dental office? What are we supposed to do? We had a lot of extra regulations in California. I mean, we always do, but even through that, and one of them has stayed after. We have an aerosol transmissible diseases standard through Cal OSHA. So that is still in effect to this day, to the best of my knowledge, which, everything, you always want to do that caveat.
Well, wait a minute, it's only 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. So we'll give you a break on that.
We'll get back to you if anything changes. We'll have a little asterisk at the bottom of the podcast. Who knows?
Love it.
It's California. Yeah. So I want to say it was always evolving.
But it's so funny that you decided to go to take all this education and didn't think about the connection until after it was like, oh, okay, well, I'll try this. Like most of us, I'm an accidental entrepreneur. And I think most of us fall in. But you know what, Joyce? I heard this recently, and especially lining up with our strengths. We don't find our calling finds us.
Absolutely.
And your excitement about this and all that, it was such a natural fit. What have you learned about honoring a legacy while creating your own vision now?
It's been a really neat transition. I have another trainer who works with me. She's been with me for 8 years. I just adore her. Her name is April Corey. She's a hygienist. I love hygienists. I love everybody and all the dental teams, but in my experience, hygienists are just super into compliance. It's really cool.
That's awesome.
But yeah, April, she found us and she's been working with me since 2018 and she's become one of my best friends. So she's really helped to support me with the transition because my mom's created a very strong foundation, everything in Southern California. We have clients we've worked with for 20 plus years that still are clients. And it's amazing to have that level of longevity with people and trust. And what's happened is through this transition, we've gone from the physical binder and the file box and the paperwork, and I had a copy machine and all those things.
Oh, yeah.
Everything is online and we do like a folder system that's digital and all of that stuff. So we've totally shifted to paperless for our clients. And now I'm speaking and we are doing consulting. Mostly we have primarily California clients, but we also are opening up nationally. She's just been a huge support in all areas. And I think having that team is a really important part of it. And then also honoring the foundation that my mom built that was really focused on always going back to what does the regulation say? Doesn't help anybody if I interpret the information and tell you what I think it says. It doesn't help anyone if I make up information or I tell you what I think you should do. I need to look specific at what those different regulations are from these different agencies and then teach that information to the office. And that's how we approach teaching because there's enough confusion and misinformation out there. Our job is, if you hear something different than what we say, let us know so that we can go back to those different regulations, contact these agencies directly, and get a clear answer for you instead of it just continuing this nebulous cycle. That was really her superpower, was cutting through the confusion and misinformation and going right back to the source.
Wow, that so lines up with your strengths because, you can't wait to learn more about it. Oh, let me learn. And I'd be like, kill me.
We go deep.
Kill me.
April's like, I went down another rabbit hole. I'm like, yes, we did.
And then the consistency, and then it's really black and white when it comes to regulations.
It is, and
so
I don't like, ambiguity. So it's great. It's real good with my experience.
I know it. And the gray area, forget that gray area. And plus, I looked at your office. It's so clean. I do not want you to see my office in the background because I had papers everywhere. I'm still like half paper, half in,
This is curated. Don't look at the rest of my office. There's a spot of it that's not. So don't feel bad.
Thank you.
Thank you for being.
Okay.
This is lived
good.
in. This is.
Yeah, thank you for being normal. I love that.
I'm normal. I'm very normal.
You're not. You have a superpower, and it is compliance and OSHA and education and infection control. I'm so proud of you. And I love that you brought such gravitas to the company with your background in education and your love for that. So I know that anyone's listening. I can't wait to see your team grow. And I love that you've been with April for 8 years. That says a lot about you and your leadership skills as well, Joyce. So it's just been just a lovely thing to know you so well. And tell me, parting words for today, because you're headed on a little trip with your beautiful family and, little life balance here, work-life balance. I'm very impressed with that as well. But give us some parting words. What do you think? If somebody's like wondering, hey, I don't know what to do.
Oh, man. Ask for help.
Okay.
Get a village. Find your people. I think that sometimes we have a perception that everybody else has got it figured out and I'm like alone and I don't know. And I think sometimes it's about not being vulnerable with everybody, but showing up. I saw the email that you sent recently of like, if you want to be on the podcast, reach out. If you want to do this, reach out. And I was like, I totally did that. I wanted to do the podcast. And so I sent you an email and I was like, how do I do it? I want to be on the podcast. It looks amazing. And plus I get to spend time with you, which is my favorite.
Oh my God.
It's a win-win. And I think it's really scary to put ourselves out there it's really important to do that too, because nobody knows what we're thinking. Nobody knows what's on our minds and what we're feeling unless we're able to have that ability to communicate that. It's really important. We can't read each other's minds, right? So show up for the Do Connect, come and get to know each other. If you're in the mastermind, show up for those. Just do the best that you can to be available, because I'm so looking forward to the retreat in November, because I get to see all these people that I've gotten to know virtually in person. And yes, the side benefit is growing the business and doing all of those things. But for me, Do is really more about establishing those connections and those relationships.
It's so sweet. I didn't really mean about Do so much, but I was just in general. And thank you for saying that, because of Do. And that's probably why I feel like I know you so well. Because you have shown up, Joyce. You have spilled it out there. And because it's a beautiful community and it's a vault, but it's also very caring and sharing. Like, who do we know? How can we help? How can I help you? And how can you help me? And so thank you for saying that. And I just can't wait to see you at our November retreat at Charlotte, North Carolina, 12 through 14. We've got plenty of seats available, but you got to sign up. And you got to show up, because we will sell out. We always do. But I just want to make sure that, you're welcome at our table. And don't be afraid to come in, because you're going to find somebody that's going to, hold your hand and then cheerlead. As Sonia Dunbar says, clap like a seal for your success, right? Because there's no scarcity mentality here. We love you. And I just, I have goosebumps. This was wonderful. Tell your mom, give her a big hug. I only wish one of my children would have followed in either my footsteps or my husband's footsteps, but they're doing their own thing. And, because we did strengths so long ago with our family, 20 years, they actually are leaning into their own strengths, and they love what they do. And that's the important thing, is like I said to you, your calling has found you. And thank you for this time today. I love you. Have a fantastic trip. And
Thank you.
I'll see you at the next Do Connect. Oh, wait a minute. How do we get in touch with you?
Oh, so my
That would be
website.
helpful.
Yeah. My website is dentaledinc.com. And then my email is contact@dentaledinc.com.
Dental Ed Inc.
Inc.
I love it. That's what you do. And that'll be in the show notes. So thank you again. Have a great day, everybody. And remember, if you're listening, to keep doing you. See you next time. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Just Do It podcast, hosted by Ann Duffy. To learn more about dental entrepreneur women, to share your story, or to join the movement, please visit our website, do.life. That is DEW.life. Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcasting app to make sure you don't miss an episode. And in the meantime, keep doing you.